Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here with really the Wilson family and the Liebman family. It's actually the people who will be running this brand new combined agency, Frosch and Valerie Wilson Travel. Frosch bought, as we know, last week, Valerie Wilson Travel, and we have the principals of the next generation, I guess, because Valerie Ann Wilson is obviously still the chairman. Richard Liebman is still the chairman of Frosch. And now we have the generation that's going to run it for the future. And we wanted to talk to them about how this deal came to be and what they see for the future. And I'm James Shillinglaw for Insider Travel Report. Now, I want to introduce you first. We have Jennifer Wilson Buttigieg. Did I say that right again?
Buttigieg. Jennifer Wilson.
You see, now that we have a transportation secretary that has a similar name, Buttigieg, we should know how to pronounce it.
But it hasn't helped enough yet. I'd love to get back to that.
It hasn't helped enough. Okay. Who has been co-president of Valerie Wilson Travel, and you'll be on the board of the combined agency.
Executive team. Yep.
Kimberly Weddy Wilson, who is the co-president of Valerie Wilson Travel, again on the board of the new combined agency. We have Brian Liebman, who's the president and CEO of Frosch, who's on the road again, it looks like. And we have Lara Liebman, who's executive vice president of Frosch. And
good morning.
This deal didn't just bring together two pretty great agencies, but also brought together two pretty great families. So we want to talk about that. Let's talk about how it started. And I want to start with you, Brian, and you, Jennifer. And the others can comment if they want. How did this deal come about? When did you actually start talking and figuring out the structure of this combination? We'll start with you, Brian, if you want.
Good morning, James. Yes, I've known Jennifer for more than 20 years. Obviously, it's a tremendous amount of respect that I've had for her and for the entire Wilson family. And look, as we went through this pandemic, Jennifer and I had the chance to speak quite regularly just about what's going on. And I think it was such a challenging time for all of us in the industry, and continues to be. It was great to have a colleague that I trusted and really respected her opinion on everything. And I think from that stage, we really started talking about what's going on in the industry, what's going on amongst the different agencies, and what are opportunities for us. And it led us to this silver lining in the pandemic to bring our great companies together.
And Jennifer, you want to add to that about how it all happened?
Totally. I'm known for phone calls, breakfasts, drinks with people, and Brian and I joked that we were sort of like lonely leaders at the top, second generation family businesses commiserating on phone calls early in the morning just to say, how do we get through this? What do we do? How do we make strategic decisions that protect our families and protect the business that we love? I think many people thought this was a long, drawn-out process. It wasn't. I actually showed Brian some space in New York City that we had to sublet. And within a matter of 2 months or so, it went from LOI to exciting news last week.
Wow. No, it all sort of came together. I mean, people have been predicting there'd be more consolidation, but you certainly, this is the biggest agency deal that we've seen during sort of post-pandemic. But let's talk a little bit about what it will mean altogether. And I'm going to go to each of you very quickly. Just mention, what are the strengths that your combined travel agency will have as a result of this deal? Are you stronger on the corporate side now? Are you stronger on the luxury leisure side? I'm going to start with you, Lara, and I'm going to go to all of you, actually. Lara, tell us, what are the strengths of the combined agency?
I think from a supplier perspective, especially on the luxury leisure side, we're going to be much stronger together. We've been fortunate on the Frosch side to have top supplier status with all the major airlines, hotels, car companies, you name it, for a long time now already. But I think with the addition of Valerie Wilson Travel, that only gets stronger.
Absolutely. And Kim, what from your perspective?
I often come back to it's the people. Having the opportunity to spend time with the Frosch team last week, really so inspired by our collective depth and breadth of our brand bench of talent. So from the leadership team to the management team to our employees, our advisors, and if we can create the chemistry that's there to create the vision of this company that we want, we will be the magnet. That's the place that I want to do business.
Brian, same question. Sorry, Jennifer, same question. What are the strengths?
For me, it's brand. Coming out of the pandemic, everything's going to be about trust. Who do you trust to do business with? Whether you're a supplier, as Lara said, whether it's a IC or associate, whether it's an employee or whether it's a client. And we will have the scale, the scope, and the yield. For me, it's brand and trust.
And lastly, Brian, from your perspective, what are the strengths of this combination?
It's good. I get to be back clean up on this question, and I agree with everybody. It's really, I've always believed we're stronger together. You know, ever since I've been in this business, it's been a lot of change in the industry, but coming together has helped us for a number of reasons. One is the people, like Kim said, you know, to be able to have these guys on our executive team and work together. Again, gives us again great strength in people. Scale certainly matters in this industry. It allows us to do things and really provide best-in-class earning potential for our IC partners and helps us to do a lot of things. You know, it lets us continue to invest in technology and infrastructure. So all those things together makes us stronger.
Well, let's go to the other thing, because actually you will operate as separate brands. There'll still be a Valerie Wilson Travel. There'll still be a Frosch. Kim and Jennifer, how is that going to work with Valerie Wilson?
Kim?
I envision it to be very seamless. You know, there's strength in both of our brands. We've spent years, decades building those brands. And there's a power behind keeping that brand. So I think it's going to be pretty simple. You know, we complement each other, but we're also different. So it's important to sort of stay in your lane and do what you do really well. And as we attract new talent, I think they're going to see, am I more of a Frosch person tied to Signature? Am I more of a Valerie Wilson person tied to Virtuoso? And I think that combined energy should make it pretty seamless.
And Jennifer, anything to add to that?
Absolutely. I think one of the most exciting things about this entire acquisition is Kimberly and I get to wear dual hats. We are firmly committed to the Valerie Wilson Travel brand, a Frosch company, which we're very proud of, and we're about to start changing footers, and we're going to wait on letterhead until we get to the new building coming in January, which I'm sure someone else will jump into. But we also get to join this Frosch team on the executive team, as Brian said, and grow and learn and think strategically. So very, very fortunate. I would look at it as dual hats.
Yeah. Now, Brian, same question. I mean, from Frosch's perspective, to be operating as a separate brand and have that Valerie Wilson brand too.
Yeah, James, I think what we do is we really try to learn best practices from one another, right? And bring and look what we can bring to each of the different brands. You know, for example, to Valerie Wilson, we can bring a lot of our global infrastructure, our corporate expertise, our, you know, a lot of new technologies, mobile platforms, additional booking tools, etc. Right? So we can bring a lot more to the Valerie Wilson brand, you know, and again, we're going to learn from them. They're doing some great things, and as an example, in developing, you know, new associates with independent contractors and programs they've put in. So we always take the approach, you know, we're better together, we're stronger together, but let's learn best things from one another and implement them across the different regions or divisions or companies, etc.
And Larry, in this one, you can bat clean up. Any more to add to that?
No, I think that if, you know, following exactly what Brian said, if you were a new IC, for example, looking for the right home, I mean, you've basically got the best of both worlds joining Frosch and Valerie Wilson today. So there's so much more that is available to you through this, you know, joining together of the two companies. So I think when you couple that with the values that we both have, there really isn't a better place for anyone to be.
No, I think I would agree. It sounds you've got a great base for all these people to work on. Let's talk a little bit about locations, because obviously Frosch really has more locations right now, and your combined agency will have locations all over the U.S. and internationally. How do you think this will help your combined agency? I'll go with you, Jennifer, first, and then follow with Brian.
Fantastic. Locations, that's actually one of the things that perfectly demonstrated the synergies. There was not a lot of overlap, and if there was, we're still committed to that location. It's additive, so we actually have a greater reach with a Frosch or VWT hub office location for current associates that are getting back to business, current advisors, as well as new ones. So I am really excited about our new locations as we reopen and bring consumer confidence back, and we're going to have a footprint where we've never sort of gone after each other as competitors, but we'll be able to hold client events in different places. We'll be able to bring new associates in. We'll be able to have supplier events.
No, absolutely. And Brian, same question, but in a different light. Obviously the pandemic has shown maybe we don't need locations. I mean, everybody's been working from home all over the place, and now you will have more locations. But how important is that to have those locations?
Yeah, James, again, we've learned a lot in the pandemic, right? I mean, to start with the first part of your question, we're in a hybrid environment. I think our focus is really on providing value for the time that people are together in an office, right? We believe in a culture, and we believe there are benefits to it. We're going to really focus a lot more on development of our talent, using it to do training in offices and really help mentor and take people to a higher level, whatever that is. It's in sales and selling more as an independent agent. It's mentoring and going onto a management track, whatever that is. But we're very excited about using that time that we have together in a very valuable fashion. Right. So that's again, having locations, it's a benefit for our culture of the different brands. Look, we've always looked at having locations as a convenience to employees, and it's important to a lot of people for that interaction and development. And we've also looked at it as a convenience for our customers. Sometimes it's very important for our customers to see us and have that local relationship, even though we're a global company all on a single platform. This word "glocal" really applies to us. We operate in a single platform, but we have a lot of locations. So we're evaluating all of that. Again, Jen said, there's not a lot of overlap. We do have overlap in New York, and we're able to bring everybody together at the end of the year into a single fantastic location, our own location. So that's exciting for us. And we'll go with that approach, right? This hybrid environment, making it worthwhile for everybody.
Let me jump in one more second, James.
Sure,
I know one of the things that Brian and I have specifically said over the last couple days, there's a huge commitment to New York. And having a co-located headquarters in a brand new facility in a building that Frosch and the Liebman family own is phenomenal. We have a tremendous commitment to California. We believe the host with the most locations in California. We are committed to Silicon Valley, where we both have offices out there. And I think that is so important to mention.
No, absolutely. And that new location that you'll move into in January is key. Although, ironically, I think you had just moved into a location about 2-3 years ago, right, Jennifer?
Well, time flies when you're having fun, So we actually started, I got the laughs that I wanted out of that one. Real estate, the final frontier, So yes, we actually started working on that new space in 2017. Didn't get in until 2018. And then obviously we know what happened. So I would much rather spend time looking forward in the big open windshield rather than the little rearview mirror.
Well, you're going to have a good place over in the 50s on the east side, so you'll be fine, I'm sure. Now let's talk to Kim and Lara. What kind of strength and leverage does this combined agency give you with your travel suppliers, your travel partners? How much stronger a player are you and able to deal with airlines, cruise lines, hotels from really a position of greater strength? I'll start with you, Lara.
I think it goes without saying we're going to be much stronger. So as I touched on already, we've always been strong, okay? And I think that when you look at what's happening most recently, what's been booked, the suites, the villas we're fortunate that our programs complement each other when it comes to hotels, for example. But I think that there's no doubt that with all major suppliers, cruise, tour, hotels, air, etc., we will be much stronger. We will have greater buying power, and the synergy is there. I mean, you can also bring into this that Kim, Jen, and I have been sitting on several advisory boards, whether it's tour companies, hotel companies, you name it, together for years now. We're well known. What we book is well known. ADR is very high. So I think everybody's going to be very happy, and we'll certainly leverage that as well in the future.
And Kim, from your perspective, what do you see?
Yeah, it's interesting. I come back to the relationship piece of it. One of the things that Valerie and Richard early on in their careers was this commitment to treating people with respect. And that included how they treated their suppliers, not just their employees and their colleagues, but the suppliers. So the amount of respect that Frosch and Valerie Wilson Travel have in the industry from the suppliers is really untouchable. So they're super excited. I mean, we've been flooded with thousands of emails from the suppliers congratulating us. And not once has it been, oh, I don't think this is good, or I don't know how we're going to figure out how to do business together. They're just genuinely excited that you take these two respected brands together. And they recognize, as Lara said, our ADR is untouchable. We sell the front of the plane. We sell the suites. We sell, the large trips. There's no price tag that is unstoppable for us because we play in that very high-end leisure space. So I think the suppliers couldn't be more excited and thrilled that our two brands have come together.
Absolutely.
Now, James, I'll just add to that and say that there was nothing more rewarding aside from the fact that, we want our own people, frankly, to be happy and excited. But there wasn't anything more rewarding than the reaction we got from the suppliers. One after another just said, wow. That's all they could say, frankly, when we were talking.
Well, I mean, absolutely. They got to deal with you in the future. I think that all they can do is say, wow, right?
But also recognizing, in their words, okay, that it's going to be a new powerhouse.
Absolutely.
And so when you hear that, you can't help it also it adds to your own excitement because we on this call are all very excited.
Yeah. Now I want to do sort of a lightning round. We've been talking a few times about the benefits to your independent contractors and your in-house travel advisors, but I wanted just for each of you just to tell me the one thing that you think really where they're going to benefit from this combination. I'll start with you, Brian.
So I think it's the best place that they can be, James. The reason I say that, they have access to all the best supplier deals. They have the best support. We've both been companies heavily focused on support and all the resource provided to help them with everything. Third, we've been focused on technology, giving them all the technology to help their business. Fourth, we're really strong in corporate travel, one of the leaders, single global platform, offices around the world, being able to offer corporate services to our independent contractors. That's something really unique, and not just any corporate services, the best in the industry. I'm really confident about that. So really, with all those things, there isn't a better place for them.
And Jennifer, anything to add to that? What is the real benefit for your ICs out there, and also for your in-house advisors?
For our employees, our advisors, our associates, ICs as we call them, I actually agree with everything Brian just said, but it's the consistency of the same team that Kimberly, Valerie, and I are right here. Our same direct reports are in place, and yet you get the benefit, as Brian said, of greater access.
And Kim, anything to add to that?
I come to second generation. I mean, I look at this screen of our new family, and there are so many of our competitors that are unsure what is their transition plan. We are a very well-rooted second generation with decades in our own right. It's not like we just joined this industry. So when you take our innovation and our intellectual thinking and our strategic minds, the power of the four of us, of what we can help create for the future, I think is going to be one of the powerful things that will attract people.
And Lara, anything to add to that? I know pretty much everybody said it, but
I think everybody has said it, James. I would only add that the resource is phenomenal, and we, the leadership at Frosch and certainly goes without saying, Valerie Wilson Travel too. We are there 24/7 for our ICs, and when I say that, I mean it. And whatever they need, we're there for them. So I don't know how you find that elsewhere, frankly, to the degree that we provide that resource.
Absolutely. Now, I did want to get to, basically, Kim and Jennifer, this could have been a deal where you sold and got your money and walked away, but clearly that's not happening here. You're going to be on the board, the combined agency, as members of its board. I'm not quite sure of your titles in the new combined one. You remain, I guess, co-presidents of Valerie Wilson Travel. And I also understand, Jennifer, your husband Brian will be general counsel of the combined agency, right? Let's talk to you.
Absolutely. He says hello. He's very fortunate. There are four of us to do the interview, and he doesn't have to hop on to another one. He does send his best, though.
Well, hello, Brian.
I think, honestly, a couple things. One, the creativity of the deal. it sort of earmarks that we have gone through a global pandemic and all the old best practices are sort of out the window, and it's recognizing what was important to all entities. You've heard us say it before. It gave us the ability to restructure some of our real estate footprint, which was critical. Right. Kimberly and I, Brian, most of our team, young, committed, dynamic. I'm not looking to retire and go do anything. I love this industry too much. And to find like-minded individuals to be able to do that with was tremendous. So I am super excited when I say it's a strategic path forward out of an unprecedented period of time that's had a lot of fits and starts. And you saw in all the movings last week after us, we were very happy we announced on Monday, because by the time Tuesday and Wednesday came around, it was like old news. There's a lot of moving around on the power list right now. And to be able to strategically choose where you want to go and who you want to work with, to me, as a leader, is most important.
Absolutely. And Kim, anything to add to that? You're staying in for the duration.
Definitely.
You're committed to, you're an addict of travel like everybody else, right?
Everybody, and what's really interesting, and Jennifer tapped on this, this is a brand new beginning. This is almost like a startup, but with an incredibly solid foundation. So we get to think completely differently about how do we think travel is going to change. And travel is changing. Customer needs are different. Technology is different. What our advisors need, how you're going to negotiate with the suppliers. What's the marketing element going to be? What's the value of a brand? Bringing in the millennial market and Gen Z. There's so many different components. So for me, this is like, a brand new day, a new way to go look at it differently. And knowing that we've got our combined energy, I'm in for like the next 25, 26 years. I mean, James, you know the story as everybody does, but my first week on the job at Valerie Wilson Travel was when the airlines capped commission domestically. And within the first week, I went from having what I thought was going to be a very stable career to picketing and being on the news. And it just goes to prove this industry constantly pivots. And because of it, we get better and stronger and more relevant. And I think that's one of the things that I'm constantly reminded. The possibilities are endless.
Well, there's always something going on in travel. I'll tell you that. But it makes it interesting for me to cover. That's for sure. Brian, we've watched as Frosch has grown really into this huge powerhouse in the agency business. And now, you've added, you're now with Valerie Wilson Travel. Where do you go from here? I mean, what else? I mean, obviously, this is you don't want to think about that right now. But what's the strategy going forward?
James, very easy for us. It's all about building a great company. It's focused on that. I said it earlier. It's stronger together. Finding the best people, finding the best companies to align with ourselves. Has really been a real testament to Frosch and made us what we are. So we're focused on being a great company, doing things the right way. I think that's why there's so much synergy between the Wilsons and us. We share the same common values and how we treat people. And I think that's why the suppliers are so enthusiastic. Again, just because of the way we do business. It's as important to us as anything that we do. But we're focused really on really being the leader in the premium space. It's the leader in that premium corporate travel market. It's the leader in luxury travel and being the best home for independent contractors. That's entirely our focus, on it. How do we do it every day better than we're doing it the day before, taking care of everyone in our organization as a family.
And Larry, anything to add to that, what your brother just said?
No, but I think with your question, where do we go from here? Wherever Brian goes, we follow, because he is truly a visionary. And I mean that most sincerely. He's always thinking one step ahead, James. And so when you say, you don't want to think about that right now, where do you go next after Valerie Wilson Travel? But he is thinking, because he's always thinking so that he's ready for whatever comes. Kimberly mentioned that our industry pivots, and it does. Nobody knows what's coming next. We've seen that now with the pandemic. Unfortunately, we have a leader in Brian who is always thinking ahead so that we can be as best prepared as we need to be for the future.
Great comment. I appreciate it. Now let's talk a little bit about both of your, the two brands will remain in their respective consortia, cooperatives. Kim and Jennifer, was that a condition of the deal? You really wanted to stay with Virtuoso, and also Virtuoso agreed that would work, right?
Kimberly, you want to take lead?
So, to say it's a condition of the deal would be unrealistic, because, we have to make the deal that makes sense. But both Frosch and Valerie Wilson Travel were 100% committed to staying to Signature and Virtuoso. That was truly our hope. And because of the value we bring to both of our consortias, we had the hope that they would respect our decision to want to stay in both of those consortias. And both Matthew and Alex did. They understood that this is actually better for both of our companies, and it's better for the industry, and it's better for Signature and Virtuoso. So it wasn't all that complicated. You got to follow the bylaws, and we'll change the ownership paperwork. But Matthew could not have been more supportive, and Alex was the same way with Brian. So super proud of both of those organizations to understand that this was the right thing to do and to support us rather than make it difficult.
I think it also goes to show that both brands were very active leaders in those consortia. Both were incredible members, both in volume and giving back. And no differently than making business decisions, it was the right decision. And both entities are going through their own bylaws and processes right now.
And Brian, in terms of you really are the largest agency within Signature, I believe, at this point. I used to say that maybe Zell was about, was maybe second or so, but then they moved to Virtuoso. So was that important for you to remain in Signature?
Absolutely. I think Kim summarized it really well. We have a lot of respect for Signature. We have a lot of respect for Virtuoso. We feel that the businesses align, both of them in their respective consortia. We feel, and we're committed to that, and glad everybody else agrees with that.
Okay, let's Jennifer. Let's go to you. And we've talked about this, but would this deal eventually have happened even if there had been no pandemic, or was it accelerated because of the pandemic?
Who knows? Many people know I did an executive MBA at Harvard years ago, and everything I learned there, you basically had to toss out the window. A pre-pandemic playbook had no relevancy in a pandemic world where we all focus on international travel. So again, I am super excited where we're going. Looking in the past to say what we were really isn't relevant. It's who are we today and where are we going moving forward. And the key and the words you continue to hear are strategic thinking. Strategic path forward. Best place to be regardless of the pillar or channel that we play in, whether it's corporate, whether it's leisure, whether it's hosting ICs. So I think that sums it up.
And Brian, same question. I mean, you were acquiring different agencies. You have. It's been the pattern for your agency for a long time, how it's grown. Would this deal have happened, or maybe you would have done a deal with somebody else? I don't know.
James, yeah, your point is a fair one. We've always been acquisitive. We've always felt like it's a path to making us a stronger company, right? That it's a theme I've mentioned throughout. Would it have happened? Maybe not. The pandemic certainly factored into it. The pandemic brought us. We always have to question what the future is, right? And this is again, we're second generation. We have a long, runway in this business together. Jennifer being the leader in the business, I'm being the leader in our business, we really had to sit and look through it and really assess what the future looks like. So certainly it played in. The post-pandemic, the post-pandemic world is going to be different. How do we position our businesses successfully for the future, align with the best people who share the same values, right? And that's, so it certainly factored in. The post-pandemic world is different. And how do you position yourself for that? It factored in, certainly, and it factors in for all of us and all the decision making that we have going forward, right? How do we position ourselves for the next decades in the business to enjoy what we do? We love the industry, we love the people in the industry, and we want to do it at the very highest levels, right? Always taking the business higher.
Absolutely.
James, one of the ways that I've been fortunate enough to look at it, and I've shared these thoughts, obviously, with everyone on this interview, is the world better with or without you? And hands down, the travel landscape is better with Valerie Wilson Travel, a part of Frosch, quite honestly. Is it better for our employees? Check. Is it better for our associates, ICs? Check. Is it better for our customers? Hands down, in premium, corporate, and luxury leisure? Check. Is it better for our suppliers? So I think those are the metrics that we look at. The world is a much better place to have us in the travel space.
And absolutely, when the world has changed so much in just 1 year, but hopefully we're starting to get back now. One of my last questions here, is this combination sort of the latest evidence that travel agencies really are here to stay? I mean, if you had any doubts, I mean, we don't, but at least you have the strength and leverage and size to do so. Lara, I'll start with you. Is it are travel advisors, travel agencies here to stay?
I think the pandemic made sure of that, frankly. I think that today, when you're looking to travel, you couldn't be better served by by not going to an advisor for help with your travel. Right. I think it's imperative, frankly, with everything that's going on today. So I think the value of a travel advisor has just skyrocketed, and definitely makes travel agencies credible for the future, without any doubt. And I think Jen's last comments about our suppliers better off with us, our clients better off with us, are our people in the company better off with us in place, that leads directly into the answer to this question, and that's a resounding yes.
Absolutely. Now, Kim, some thoughts on that? Are travel agencies here to stay and actually travel advisors? We're going to stop hearing that. What do you mean you're a travel advisor? Aren't they gone? We still hear that.
We are so much more relevant than we've ever been before. And with the constant change and the need for advocacy, for somebody to really have your back, because there are so many unknowns and the world's going to continue to change. And even when you're in the middle of your trip, things are going to still evolve. So the thought of doing it by yourself, or, no offense to the OTAs, but doing it with an online, no-name support system. We are real people with a real face, with a strong foundation, and we are going to be there for our clients 24/7. So I'm excited because this has actually elevated us as an industry and a profession, which is why we're actually seeing more people join the industry. Mm-hmm. I think it's really fascinating that you can take 15 months of a pandemic where travel has been like screeching halt, and we have more inquiries for people wanting to join this industry as a career. So that gives me hope.
Yeah. Jennifer, any thoughts on this? I know, I don't know if you're going to be down next week for ASTA Legislative Day or not.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I be there?
I will be there too.
I look forward to seeing you. I was going to say it wouldn't be me if I didn't say, wearing my other hat of co-chair of ASTA's Government Affairs and PAC, ASTA Ledge Day, May 18 and 19, we are resilient, we are advocates for our travelers, and we're going to go be resources on the Hill. We're going to have about 150 of us down there in person, still very much a hybrid environment to be respectful of the pandemic. But hands down, absolutely. Advisors, travel agencies, TMCs, they're here to stay. Absolutely.
Now, and Brian, your closing thoughts on that in terms of the resiliency and the relevancy of travel advisors in this new age. Are they more relevant than ever, and are travel agencies now, with your combined agency, more relevant than ever?
Yeah, James, a resounding yes. And look, I think but my comments also are, you need resources though differently. It's a more complex environment. You need to be able to adapt and utilize technologies. We develop a lot of technologies ourselves, and again, when you're talking about integrating digital health information into profiles and really helping our customers facilitate moving across borders, which now is more complicated than it was before, things we used to take for granted. You have to have the resources and to be able to adapt and invest in the new way of working, right? But with that I agree with all the comments about the travel advisor. It's more complex. We need, our customers need that expertise, but also to leverage our platform and really help our customers travel, which we've always done, right? The privilege to travel and passion we have for travel.
Absolutely. Now, last question, final thoughts. Lara, anything else you want to get out? Tell the rest of the travel industry and other agencies and travel advisors about this combination. Anything more you want to say?
Thanks, James. I think Valerie actually summed it up, funnily enough, using these words, the best. She summed it up the best when she said last week that we are the best. That by combining our two companies, we have become the best in the industry, the best home for independent advisors, the best in luxury leisure, the best in corporate, everything that we have to offer from an access perspective to the resource perspective to the people, who we are, the values we stand for, what we say we're going to do and what we actually do in the end, all of that combined it adds up to being the best. And I think that's the most exciting takeaway, is that we look forward to what the future holds and just really succeeding in this business.
Well, I do remember that closing quote from Valerie about that we are going to be the best in luxury and in business, corporate travel. Kim, any closing thoughts on this deal you want to get out?
I learned a long time ago it's hard to try and follow a quote of Valerie, so I might leave that one alone. But I do know, like, there are a lot of rumors out there. I think everybody's sort of trying to figure out, was there a different angle? Was there something going on? I guess I would just encourage everybody to pause and reflect. You know who each of the four of us are as people, who we are at our core values, what we stand for, what we've contributed to this industry, what we've given back. That hasn't changed just because we did a deal. I would actually argue it shows that we're stronger leaders, we're courageous thinkers, we're willing to take a chance. And watch out, I'm excited to see what we're going to do together.
Well, we are too. Jennifer, any closing thoughts to this?
Very simple. Come join us.
There you go. That's an ad. Are you looking for more great advisors to join you?
Absolutely. We're looking for advisors. We're looking for associates, independent contractors. We're looking for corporate clients. We're looking for leisure customers. Come join us.
And Brian, final thought on the impact of this deal going forward. This really was the biggest. Everybody talked about combinations, and we did hear about smaller agencies selling and this and that, but this really, but it really was. It didn't seem to be out of the pandemic. It seemed to be, something that has evolved, and it's going to create a better organization for the future.
It does, James. I'm humbled to work with all of our leadership team. I'm humbled to welcome the Valerie Wilson associates and employees to our organization. We care deeply. It's about who we are and doing things the right way. We're passionate about the industry, and I'm honored to work with each of them. We're going to do great things. We're always looking to make things better, as I said, and this is a great step forward for all of us.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you all for taking the time to talk with us. We first heard about this about a little over a week ago, and it was big news, absolutely. And then we had press conferences and all kinds of things. So it's been great. We could get all four of you together, because you are the next generation to be leading this organization. I've had the privilege and the pleasure of interviewing both Richard, your father, of Brian and Lara, and also obviously I've been hanging around with Valerie a long time these days. We've been on many cruises together, and in fact, I just had her on a panel. She's an amazing lady and an incredible leader. So I want to congratulate you, all four of you, and again, look for great things to come from this combination in the future. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for giving us a chance. Maybe one of these titles that you get to use. Come join us, the next generation.
There you go. Anyway, I'm James Schillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.